which is
road trip.
Ooh, you scared the Welcome home. You're in Clovistown, USA. And then there's a story here.
For real though, get yourself a Ukrainian boyfriend.
I met another Ukrainian who was basically an alcoholic.
They'll bring you flowers.
Your dad is not like that.
No, Dad's not like that. They'll do the dishes.
So, I mean,
They'll like wake up in the middle of the night and like go and get you food.
there you go.
I haven't opened a door for myself in like 5 years.
It's kind of chivalrous, but then there's a point at which it becomes a problem.
I also don't know how to carry groceries because I'm not allowed to carry groceries. Hi guys.
Hey there.
We are currently in the process of a very long drive. Our first trip since being in lockdown to my hometown of Clovis, 4 hours away. It's in the Central Valley in Clovis by Fresno, if you are aware of California geography. Last time we did a car video, we talked a little bit about our relationship and association to Myers-Briggs.
Give me more conversations about relationships. Come on, I love it.
My mom called and asked if we would like to join my family. It's my dad's 64th birthday. The moment I told Oleg, oh, you want to go to Clovis, he was down, but he was also very hesitant. Reason being is that my mom and Oleg had a bit of a rocky start, to put it lightly. And we kind of started reminiscing about the first time that Oleg met my mom. And we got the concept for this video, Americans' perspective of dating a Slavic man. Oleg was
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. Oleg is from Ukraine. The first time Oleg ever met my mom, we don't have to tell the whole story, but basically we had our first really big fight, and it had only been like a month into dating because we were dealing with some cultural differences.
About time.
I feel like most couples, like when they start dating, there's the honeymoon phase, and then as things progress, things get worse, you know? Like, you realize things about people, and you're just like, oh my God, I didn't know you were like this.
Oh yeah.
Why are you the way that you are?
We're like the opposite, I feel. There was no honeymoon phase. Oleg, I would say, and from my perspective, was incredibly aggressive and assertive, he would say. And made me feel very uncomfortable. But for some reason, like, I went with it. We hadn't gotten to a fight yet. He was just a little bit intense. And I thought, like, oh no, it's gonna be okay. Like, he's just an intense dude.
But I was just warming up.
But he was just warming up. We constantly see, Oleg and I both, the combination of Ukrainian or Russian or Bulgarian or Eastern European women with American guys. But literally, we do not know any couples, not one couple of an American girl dating a Russian or Ukrainian or Bulgarian or Eastern European dude. You don't see it. I do know some girls that are, but their boyfriends are like second generation. Oleg was fresh off the boat.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Yeah.
It doesn't count. So I have compiled 5 reasons why it is different dating a Ukrainian, Russian, or Eastern European man, or 5 reasons why it can be difficult. Reason number 1, assertion and confrontation. We have a little bit of a reputation over here in the Western world for not being very good with confrontation. We tend to not be comfortable getting angry or having arguments. We like to let things blow over, and y'all don't like to do that.
But before we can be friends, we must fight. Hit me.
You like to hash it out.
Need a resolution.
Resolutions. I'm cool to like never talk about problems and like just pretend like everything's fine.
I know.
Oleg met my mom in a very peculiar way.
Situation.
We had been dating like a month, and we got into a little disagreement. He came over to my house, even though I told him not to, and he was like, we're gonna have this conversation. Second point is jealousy. Or what's perceived as jealousy. Dudes be jealous, and they are okay with displaying that. I feel like in context of a Russian woman and an American man, because Russian women get very jealous also, American men love it. Like, they love the crazy because they're just like, ooh, yeah, you're making me feel so masculine right now, like being all crazy about me. I feel like the dynamic works because in that situation, the woman being jealous kind of plays into the man's ego. But in the opposite way, it's harder because if you're getting jealous and then you're dealing with somebody who's just like, oh, I don't really care. Like, why are you freaking out? It doesn't go over well.
You know what? It's not my fault you're like in love with me or something. What?
Point number 3. Lost in translation. So
Not literally.
Not literally. Figuratively. And it doesn't happen so much anymore. I feel like Oleg's English is so much better after me.
It's all you.
I mean, obviously, right? I can't even count how many times he said something in a way that I perceived as like super rude and very blunt and like has no social grace or class, or said something that just made absolutely no sense.
I want my bird.
You want a bird?
I want my bird. I want my bird.
They need to get their point across in a way that is easiest for them just to get the point across. And then there's also a cultural element that ties into the first point, which is the confrontation. I'm just going to say what it is I want to say. And sometimes I'll be like, you can't say that.
See, I don't think it's got a lot to do with vocabulary. It's got to do with interpretation of certain words and phrases. I remember myself when I just got to the US and I didn't speak good English, but I could understand what words meant. How would you translate them? How would you interpret them? I remember how girl told me to shut up in a very jokingly manner.
Oh,
We're
shut
just
up.
talking about something. Oh, shut up. And I legitimately got mad at her for telling me to shut up.
That's such a Russian
Who
response.
are you to tell the man
Excuse me?
to shut up?
To tell the man.
Nothing to do with me not understanding the words or not having the vocabulary. It's just has something to do with me not having a social context.
Point number 4.
Would you like a candy?
No, thank you. Toxic masculinity. Toxically masculine. Like you just heard him say, like, you don't tell the man to shut up.
It's enough to get me to the boiling point, yeah!
But I literally started laughing. I was like, the man? The man, really? It just sounds so silly to me. I feel like in your culture, like a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and there's a certain code of etiquette on how you're supposed to behave. And in America, there's not so much of that. It's a lot more gray. It's a lot more relaxed. And no one's gonna like, a guy isn't gonna judge you if you're like, if you like slap him on the back and call him a dude. Like, hey dude, like they're not gonna feel that, like, they're probably gonna be like, oh man, she likes me. She really likes me. Whereas like, if I do that to him, excuse me, I'm your boyfriend.
Don't do that.
Just don't do it.
The male sense of ego is very strong and it's very different, and it can be hard to know how to navigate around without pushing a button, because sometimes, especially in the beginning, I would say things or I would push buttons with you that he would go off, and I would legitimately not understand like what I said, like what did I do, and he would get really, really mad, and then I would get mad because he was getting mad and I thought he was being over dramatic and being sensitive. Reason number 5 why you may not see a lot of American girls with Slavic men is because, and I hear this from his friends a lot, that American girls are really slutty. That we're so slutty. Oh my gosh, we're so slutty. A lot of times, like, American girls will hook up with guys like foreigners because we love the cute accent. You'll see
So afraid to lose it.
You'll see mostly like Russian girls dating American men, but they never say like, oh, I love the accent, I love how foreign he is. But you'll always hear American girls say like, oh, I love foreign guys. But then they never actually like date them seriously, but they will hook up with them. And it's really interesting to see how we treat foreign guys as kind of slabs of meat, for sure. We don't think that anything will actually, we're like, oh, the differences are too much, but like he's really cute and he'll be like fun for a night, but also he doesn't know any of my friends. He doesn't know my family, and I can ghost him.
It sounds like extortion to me.
It sounds like extortion, it kind of is. If you were to ask American guys, are
language of the concert that they're in.
I would like to hear in the comments some opinions from other American girls who are also dating Slavic men. How the kind of funny fights you get into, because they're very, very confusing. They're fights that I've never had with any of my American boyfriends ever. I'm like, why are we even fighting about this? Do people fight about this?
Wavelength.
Do you see what you get, Carla? Do you see what you get when you mess with the warrior?
It's the cultural clashes that happen because they're really specific and they're very funny. They're not funny when they happen though. And maybe this guy will make his own video about the differences between dating American. Oh, he definitely will.
I'll make a manual.
He'll make a manual.
All of my Russian friends
who are trying to date Americans currently but cannot. Like,
maybe I'll even make this video in Russian.
Oh, that'd be funny.
What do you guys think? You're watching this video. What do you think? Should I make this video in Russian or in English?
Yeah, comment down below your opinions. I think that could be funny. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us and entertaining us on this really, really long drive. It's always such a pain to take this drive. Next time we take it, maybe we'll do that video we were talking about. But until then, bye-bye. Bye. See you later. Even though he's behind the camera, you can really...
And he's right here, and I gotta pretend like he's not here?
Yeah, he's gotta pretend he's not here. Like, if he wasn't here and you really want to talk shit.
Oh.
Because on our way up, we did briefly touch on the first meeting you had with Oleg, which was probably not the best. It was a little bit traumatic.
You're talking about our special lunch date?
The differences between him and maybe other people I've dated. Like, what are the differences in, like, the cultural differences?
Oh, they're very loyal. And when they love and they give everything. A little more, how do I put this and be kind? Possessive, perhaps? Your dad is not like that.
No, Dad's not like that.
So, you know, Dad is like, I wish he were a little more like that, frankly, because it's kind of chivalrous, but then there's a point at which it becomes a problem. But my first impressions were that he was just a really sweet, very gentlemanly, all the things. If you have an opportunity to date an immigrant, date one, or at least...
Well said. That is an opportunity that is given to you Americans.
So, you know, of course, mothers love to see that shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like all over that. Dad is like, oh my God. Yes.
All right, well, we'll have to get Dad's opinion later. So the theme of the video is an American girl's perspective on dating a Ukrainian. We got Mom's input yesterday.
Well, I'm not dating a Ukrainian.
No, you're not dating a Ukrainian, but your daughter is.
Well, first of all,
not very good. Your perspective on me dating Ukrainian, the things that you've noticed that are different, and your first impression, because we kind of went over Mom's first impression of Oleg when she first met him.
I was struck by how good his English was. Okay, here we go. Birthday dinner for about 10 people.
Nice, Dad. It looks good.
About how far away? Ooh, we're almost there.
You're almost there?
Yeah.
Exciting. Exciting.
Okay, next question. Yeah, so I did that stint on the cruise ships and met quite a few Ukrainians. I had a roommate who was Ukrainian. I met another Ukrainian who was basically an alcoholic. I can't really address the cultural thing very well unless I was to go visit Ukraine and experience the culture myself. He's very motivated and knows what he wants, and he goes out and gets it. Whether or not that's true in all cases, again, I'm not sure.
Right.
But I know it is for Oleg.
Yeah.
That's his MO.
Yeah. All right, you gonna flip this meat or what? I would say in general that American dads are a lot easier to please. They're not as
again,
crazy.
I'm gonna claim
it's just
everybody's different.
You're just chill.
It's just me.
You're just chill as a cucumber.
Cheers.
Cheers.